topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Camping Show. I'm C.W. Getz.
And I'm Jessie Meany.
Good evening. It is Wednesday, October 26th, 2022. We have a 54-degree sunny day here in north central Illinois. And we have, our guest is from the UK, and he doesn't do Fahrenheit, so I didn't do a conversion. Not that he really cares, but it would have been nice of me to do that. I apologize. You're backstage listening to this. I know you are. But very nice day here today. A little windy.
But it's sunny.
Yes, it is sunny. And we did get the rain we very much needed. So I'm glad to see that. So absolutely.
Now I think so. I have cousins in Canada. My grandmother was Canadian, and he told me to remember 16 degrees Celsius is around 60 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's like a marker. We'll have to ask them when they come on the show if that sounds about accurate.
Mr. Callan is very good at another one of our guests this evening, at conversions.
Okay.
He was a math professor, as I understand it, right? Yes. We'll find out. I think I just made that up. Well, tonight's episode of The Camping Show is brought to you by Campground Views, making camping easier.
And Rutabaga Paddle Sports, providing time on the water.
Tonight's episode is 25th anniversary of the Welsh Open Canoe Symposium with our special guest, Ray Goodwin and Kevin Callan. And I dropped the ball because I was going to have Kevin pop in the middle of the show. He surprised us and came and and we'll probably still do that, but I don't have an internet. Everybody knows Callan. He's like Elvis, right? So, but would you tell us a little bit about Ray Goodwin, please?
Yeah, I can do that. Ray Goodwin is a 69-year-old British author and professional mountaineering instructor of North Wales, United Kingdom. Ray Goodwin holds the highest award in the UK as a leader and coach of the whitewater kayak, canoe, and sea kayak. The MBE, member of the Order of the British Empire, was awarded by Queen Elizabeth in her New Year's Honors List in 2019. In addition to that, Ray is also a member of the Council for the Canadian Canoe Museum in Ontario, Canada. He is the author of a book titled Canoeing, which is dedicated solely to canoeing techniques and includes over 900 photos. Ray also hosts and operates his own YouTube channel, which features canoe paddling techniques as well as canoe expeditions.
And with that, welcome to the show, Ray.
Welcome.
How are you doing?
Very good indeed.
How is your weather there this evening, sir?
Well, the sky finally is clear, so the stars are out, remembering that it's already gone 11 o'clock at night.
Oh, wow.
But we've had some rain at long last, so there's some water in the rivers at long last.
Wow.
So it's good.
We're keeping you up late, aren't we?
Yes.
Yes. Wow. And backstage, I asked you to do the very famous British line, "You care for a spot of tea." Would you do that for us one more time?
Yes. Would you? Well, no, actually, we wouldn't say that. We'd say, "Would you like a cuppa?"
Oh, really?
Yeah. Would you like a cuppa? And in Wales, we'd say, "Would you like a panad?"
Okay.
Panad. So we'd offer you a cuppa. It's bound to be tea.
So
not
you wouldn't,
coffee.
That whole thing where you care for a spot of tea, us Americans must have made that.
Oh, that's the posh folk over here.
I love that.
The rest would say, walk into somebody's house. If it's in England, somebody's going to say, "Do you want a cuppa?" And
That's cool.
And if it's here in Wales, would you like a panad?
Oh, interesting. What does that mean? What is that?
Panad is just a cuppa.
That's
in
it?
Welsh.
Same thing.
The normal language where I live is Welsh, not English.
Right.
And I don't speak Welsh. My daughter does. She's fluent, bilingual. But it's still the normal language here. So
yeah. No, it's funny. So I've already learned something this evening on the show, and we're like, 5 minutes into it. So yeah. I love it.
But if you offer a Brit a cuppa, make sure it's tea. It is not coffee.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, you can give them the choice, but a cup is tea.
Interesting. Yeah.
Well-
I would not fare well there. It's got to be coffee for me. I'm not a tea person.
Oh, I love
Well,
tea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's got whiskey or something in it. I'm good. You know.
No.
It's just me.
Spiked tea.
Don't read too much into that.
No.
All right. So, what exactly is the Welsh Open Canoe Symposium? That's what we're kind of looking to talk
Okay,
about.
so
right?
so you get symposiums all over the place. I mean, there's symposiums in North America,
Mhm.
famous ones, sea kayaking and canoe, and in Britain, we had lots of sea kayak symposiums, and I thought, well, we need to do that for canoe. So it's a mixture of people that are going to come on workshops, that are going to take part in it, see presentations, all the good things of canoe.
Yeah. You know, you and I talked before the show some weeks ago, and there's a lot that goes into one of these symposiums. And as you had mentioned, it does a 3-year rotation between what 3 places is that again? Is
Okay, so when I set up the Welsh Canoe Symposium,
Yeah.
then I got a phone call from somebody I knew in Scotland, didn't know well at that time,
okay.
and he said, I'm thinking similar lines. So we immediately agreed to alternate,
Okay.
and then a group of English paddlers said, well, can we get in on the act? And so it's a rotation between Wales, Scotland, and England.
Interesting.
So that we only have one of these very major events each year. So we're not competing.
Now, how many years have you been doing this symposium?
25 years.
I mean, this is the whole, all 3. You just combined that, and that's the 25. Not they were doing
That's it.
anything first. Okay,
But
So
I would claim the Welsh one is the senior one because we were the first.
that's what I was getting
It's
at.
like
That's what I
it's
was
like
trying-
the British Navy in the military is the senior service. It was the first.
Yeah.
So
Now, how long have you all 3 been doing this? That's kind of what I meant. I didn't describe that well.
We immediately went to this 2-country rotation.
Okay.
And we did that, I think, for 4 years, and then it went into England as well. So there's been nigh on 20 years of working around the 3
All
nations.
3 of them. Interesting.
They asked about Ireland, including, and they do run a great event over there, but we didn't think the number of people would travel across, and we wanted to keep the momentum with just the 3 the 3 nations.
Right. Now, what exactly is your involvement here with these?
Well,
symposiums?
if the really nice thing is, if I go to the English or the Scottish one, then I'm just running workshops. I may do a presentation, depends what I've been up to that year, but they would normally bring it, I've been a main speaker at the others. They're great because I can just go and do my thing, work with small groups of people. But with the Welsh one, I am the organizer. I use a big outdoor centre, so they do the admin, booking people in, sorting accommodation, making sure everything's right on the ground. But what I'll do is I'll put together all the instructors, the coaches. I'll approach the trade. I'll get all the information together to send out to participants. And that's largely just me. With the other ones, the thing is, I have this brilliant backup of a good outdoor centre that will do the majority of the admin for me, as long as I provide the material.
Right.
Nice.
Right. Excellent.
Yeah. So, how many participants do you usually have?
Well, the Welsh one this time, I can tell you, it's 161 participants.
Oh.
There are something like 28 instructors come coaches, and there's going to be about 18, 20 people from the trade. So we're there. It's just over 200 people.
Okay.
know.
Wow. So, what are the requirements to participate?
You pay your money. So I've been looking down. So we'll get people that are pretty well beginners, absolute novices, and we will accommodate that. It's a very welcoming thing. We like to encourage anybody to come along. But there's also, I've just been looking at the list of participants, and there's people there who, in many ways you would regard as experts themselves. They like the camaraderie, they like to share ideas.
Yeah.
So anything, and some of the coaches have done amazing things.
Do they have to
trips.
Do they have to be at a certain skill level to be
not as a participant?
They don't.
But but what we'll do is on the workshops, we will give guidance or set some rules in terms of. We normally use a river called the Twerin. Unfortunately, the dam that it's released from has run out of water this year. But we're shifting elsewhere. But there's a couple of workshops there. We offer strong guidance to people. You really should not be doing this unless you've got a certain level of experience. All you're going to do is get a battering. And that's hard work for the coaches and the guides, and it's not great for the participant. But we can accommodate people who've just had 1 or 2 days in a canoe. We can even get them on white water over the course of the weekend onto something easy. So we try to guide people in the right places. Of course, some will choose.
I was just going to ask you that. Yeah. Have you ever had that happen where they jump in and they're like, oh, what do you do?
Yes. Well, that's up to that's the point of having a really good team of coaches. They're all well qualified. Most of them are fully professional, and they're doing this for free. This is the one weekend a year they just give their time because it's part of the ethos of the symposium. And they just have to cope with it and maybe get somebody off the river and say, right, we're going to need to sort transport for you. This isn't suitable. And that does very occasionally happen, but we put out such strong warnings. And then in the briefings in the morning, we can again filter people. But you've got to take people's word for it to an extent, but some are ambitious.
You ever take the guy and beat the hell out of him after he comes out of the water? And makes That's what they do here in Chicago. Get over here, bam!
That seems to be frowned upon by my governing body.
See, we encourage that sort of thing here. Discipline, absolutely.
I think about that, but I think part of the way into the 21st century, that's not a bit frowned on. I might want to, but that's a different question.
I know. See, the urge is there to do that. Yeah.
Don't encourage me.
Love it.
All right. So we are going to take a quick break, but don't go away. We'll be back with more of the camping show on W4CY Radio and Talk 4 TV.
It is time to go camping. Introducing Campground Views virtual tours. You can tour the campground, see the sites, see if they are available, and click to book your perfect spot. Hit the open road and explore the amazing places found in nature. We make it easy to discover, find, and book your site so that you can go have the fun and freedom you seek. Campground Views virtual tours make it easy and simple for you to see where you are going.
A few years ago, someone asked Rutabaga's owner, Darren Bush, "Hey, how long have you guys been selling boats?" Darren replied, "We don't sell boats. We sell time on the water." Of course, that comes in all types. We help people paddle more safely with Rutabaga outdoor programs. We rent canoes, kayaks, and stand-up paddleboards. We sell and install racks to get you from home to adventure. Rutubaga's got everything you need to get you out on the water, like paddles, life jackets, dry bags, and clothing. Rutabaga Paddle Sports, on the web at rutabaga.com. Mention you saw this ad on the camping show.
And we're back with our guest, Ray Goodwin, here on the camping show. Ray, could you give us a little history behind these canoe symposiums? I guess when I say history, I mean, how have the symposiums changed since you started these from maybe like where you are right now? How did things evolve?
I think, well, first of all, we had the structure going around the nations. But the other thing was the initial philosophy of it. I looked at what the sea kayakers were doing. At that time, they only had 1 or 2 big symposiums a year in the UK. And I just thought it was a tremendous thing for the coaches to be able to meet each other. It wasn't just the participants, because we're all spread into our own little districts and the like.
Yeah.
And so that's been a really big feature of it, that we meet as professionals there as well. And then over the time, I think the size of them has grown. We're now limiting the Welsh one. And it's become a real standard part of the year for British canoeing. So it's just an expectation that it's going to be a great event. We get people from Ireland, we get people from all over, from the continent of Europe.
Yeah.
And it's just, has it evolved in terms of what we do? Not really. We've always had a very good selection of activities, but it's just grown to be very much part of the canoe culture in the UK.
Okay. I mean, how about the size? I mean, when you first started, I mean, had the numbers just increased exponentially, or has it just been slow?
It's been slow and steady.
Yeah.
I think even the first one, we were around about the 100 mark. And there's a natural size to this. I don't think we would have gone, even if we just kept it open, I think we would have peaked at about 180, but that becomes too much for us to cope with. So I think the Welsh one and the English Symposium, we're both looking at about 160. The Scottish, because of the size of the venue, is smaller than those two. But that's nice. It's very different. It's a different feel. And that's the other side of it. You know, we're moving to very different parts of the UK. And so it automatically has a different feel.
Yeah, interesting.
All right.
You there, Jess?
So I am. I'm here.
I was thinking, shall I say something?
Yeah, you know, you get a union coffee break on this show, right?
Yeah.
So what is Kevin Callahan's role in this year's symposium?
Oh, I don't know. We're going to try and shift him off somewhere else. He thinks he's coming to the symposium, but
Isn't he?
No,
just an outlaw? He is like an outlaw you'd never know about. Kevin. I love it.
Oh dear.
Let's bring that man on.
What a fella!
There he is. Look at him, Mr. Outlaw himself. I love.
Hey,
it.
the worst thing is I'm going to see him for real in a day or so. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
And I'm living in his place too after it, and he has chickens going through his kitchen right in front of you. Like you're like having breakfast, and chickens go like.
No, chickens are gone now.
Oh, did you eat
He
them?
was impressed with the chickens walking through the house.
Hey, Ray, how did you like the smoke coming out of Kevin's kitchen? And he says
still
it's
coming out there. I think the house is about to burn down. I think somebody should call 911 and get the fire service there.
Can you imagine the size of that joint from that kind of smoke? Look at that.
And we can't even share it.
Yeah.
That's why it's a happy camper.
Now, if that was a bottle of whiskey, I'd actually go with it. But no.
Look what I'm having.
Oh my God.
Right.
Wow. Hey, what happened to the? I thought it was monkey shoulder up there. Look I got it right.
We'll tell you why we like this, right?
Yeah. What is that? What does it say? I can't even read it.
Belvini, Ray, and a bunch of other colleagues and we went down the River Spey a few years back, and we stopped at all the distilleries along the way to test their wares while we did the river. And this is our best stock, was it? Right? Yeah.
It was splendid.
Yeah.
You know, you had a story, if you don't mind, Ray. He had a story about when you did this Scottish whiskey tour. Is that what it was called?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we were meant to be paddling the River Spey, which is a fabulous Scottish river. I'm normally out in Canada early September, and then end of October or middle October rather, I'm on the River Spey normally for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's not a disappointment having come back from Canada. It's a really great trip. So we decided we would take Kevin, but of course
was that a mistake or was that a good thing? I'm just asking.
Well, yeah. But the thing is, the guy is he's distrusting. He's distrusting of local information. We give him all this local information of wildlife about the haggis and the like, and he just look at that head shake. Look at that head
No,
shake.
I'm calling BS. Like this whole haggis thing,
Well,
guys. You don't know
so
about this haggis thing, but
Kevin?
go
Why
ahead,
are you so
Ray. Tell them about the
disgusting?
haggis.
Yeah.
We put everywhere we went from the distillery, we'd say, just tell this guy about the haggis, and they tell him the same story. We came round a corner on the river, and there's a couple of estate workers, and we said to them, this guy doesn't believe about the wee beast. He says, oh, do you mean the haggis? And these two estate workers launched into it. He thought we were paying the entire population of Scotland to pull one over on him. Little does he know the haggis are real.
That's like not paranoid. What is that? What's the word? What's the term? I can't think of what it is.
It's delusional.
Well, there's that.
English.
Yeah.
It's English. That's what I would call it.
Wow.
No. So what?
Where are
so
you
what,
like
I,
that?
what I'm doing at the show,
What is
Ray,
wrong with you? No, I'm joking.
No. So
Would you like me to?
A couple of days, I'm going to be at the show, and I'm doing a keynote talk. And the other day, I went and got all my old footage from that trip we did down the Spey River, and I blended all the haggis jokes, all in one on that trip. You know, it's a documentary. It's 3 hours long.
But should I tell you why Kevin's here? It's
Yeah,
not because I
let us
like
know.
Yeah, right.
I thought he was going to be the bartender, maybe, or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, you don't let him near the bar.
He is.
Don't let him near the bar. I love that.
I've already drunk my best whiskey because I'm not having him stay at the house with my best whiskey still here. No, that's not true, Kevin. Not true. Don't look so frightened.
Why do they pick on you so much?
One of the things that's really nice about them, and a number of the symposiums have done it over the year, but the Welsh seems to continue this. We've had some of the top North Americans across. We've had Harry Rock, who is the 9 times world champion at poling. So driving a boat upriver, the competition. We've had Karen Knight, the freestyle paddler, who again was world champion. We've had Becky Mason, daughter of Bill Mason, obviously. So we've just had this whole series of it. To me, it's just a nice way of linking it in to Raffin. We've had James Raffin. We've had over, if you know James,
and they know Cliff.
We've had Cliff. That was good.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So we tried to, again, open people's eyes. We've got plenty of people over here who do amazing things, but it's nice to bring in the North American. But this one, we've got Kevin.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Answer the email.
Yeah. No, that's actually true, Kevin. They went, no. No, Kevin is backed by popular demand. He went down an absolute treat 6 years ago.
He's like Elvis, isn't he?
I gotta say to define the show for me, because the first time I went to the show was in 2013, and I've been going back ever since. It is an awesome symposium for various reasons, but I'll put it all in one nutshell here. When you go to the UK, if you're a North American paddler, meaning you're from the US or Canadian, it's a different perspective of watching these people paddle. They know how to paddle. They can actually do whitewater like beyond belief, right? Far better than any Canadian paddler I know and any North American paddler I know.
I think I've heard that. I think Cliff said
they're
that.
amazing, and they're really proud of what they do, and they practice. They have badges, like everything. But what's really interesting is that we do more wilderness trips in Canada, and maybe in the United States as well, than they would in the UK. So it's so refreshing. For when I first presented there, I listened to the one guy, a young guy, talk about doing the River D, and he didn't see anybody for 2 hours, and he was amazed with that. I was like, oh my god! I watched the kid paddle, and he was freaking amazing. He knocked all socks off us, right? And then I got up and I said, well, here's one trip I went on. I was out for 5 weeks, didn't see anybody. Next slide. And so totally different, and I love it. I just love it. And going and do the River Spey. So the next time I went, hey guys, we got to do a trip after this whole thing. So we went down the River Spey, and Ray and Paul Curley and Justine, just amazing paddlers. We went down this amazing river, but I didn't know anything. I got to a tree, I didn't even know how to burn it because I didn't know what tree it was. And I just love going to all these symposiums and know that the canoe culture is all over the world. And I just think that this symposium really emphasizes that. And by the way, Ray, this guy is well known. Like, okay, we know this guy in Canada, like Bill Mason, right? We know that. Yep, right. We know him. Well, no, Ray in the UK is known as the Bill Mason of the UK.
Yeah. That's cool. I mean, that's pretty prestigious. And there's a story that Kevin shared with, well, he sort of alluded to the story, didn't really share the whole thing. And we're gonna talk about that in a second. I just got from my producer said that we have some comments. Someone from the North Pole. Unfortunately, what he said, what he's got to do is solo someone out. So I guess you can solo me out. Go ahead and post those comments, if you will. Good evening, all. Get that. Thank you, Mustang 774. And he's enjoying tea right now. That's very good. It's very good. Phil Schaefer, hello from the North Pole. How you doing, Phil? Thanks for tuning in. That's awesome, man. Really. And we're at the North Pole. We don't know. Okay, I hear roast huggies. They're going well with the whiskey. That's awesome. That's very cool.
Nice.
Phil, thank you for chiming in. That's so cool. We got any more there, Juan, or is that it? All right. Let's go back. Let's go back to the gentleman here.
Can I just say hi to Phil?
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
Phil and I connect on Facebook and various other bits and pieces. He comments on my YouTube videos. So hi there, Phil. Good to see you.
And and thank you for tuning in. I hope he comes back and tunes in again. So Kevin, why don't you give us real quickly what you were talking about? Oh, North Pole, Alaska. Very good. Okay. Kevin, tell us what you were talking about. There was some sort of a situation there with a rescue, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. So Ray, I'm going to throw this at you because you haven't heard this for a while, but you're really well known there, and you do an amazing event, and the 25th anniversary is coming up, and you've organized this event. It's amazing, and you're going to turn 70 soon. Oh my Lord. The first time I heard about you, I hadn't met you yet. I was actually doing a northern trip in Scotland, and the outfitter was talking to me about this Ray Mears. I go, oh my God. Not me, Ray Goodwin.
Yeah, there you go.
You can mention the other Ray as well.
No, we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Ray Goodwin. So, but what he was saying is about a rescue you did about someone in a sleuth, and that was a long time ago. And then I really wanted to hear the story from you. And I remember we're doing the shuttle for the river trip, and you told me, you got to tell that story because everybody in the UK knows about you doing that and how much they respect you for doing what you did.
Well, yes, we'll come away from the symposium from it. But basically, I was picking my car up from a garage, and somebody yelled to me, "There's a kid in the river! There's a kid in the river!" And I actually froze. I had no gear with me. I had no life vest. I had no throw ropes, nothing. The car was being serviced. And my partner at the time, Jen, said, "Ray, go." And that just unfroze me. And I ran for it. Came round the corner and there was a low head dam. But the circulation, and I'll do it in North American for CW and Jesse, the kid was coming up 12 foot out from the low head dam and going back, getting sucked back in. And I looked into his eyes and I had nothing. Yelled at the garage mechanic, "Get me a rope, get me a ladder, anything so I could reach." Meanwhile, I'm watching the kid, and the mechanic comes back and he's got a hose pipe. So I tie the hose pipe around my waist. I'm thinking this is going to be pushy. So the two people, the garage mechanic and the office lady, was a farmer's wife. Well, a farmer's wife knows how to pull, knows how to be physical. I didn't know them, but I gave them the best and shortest brief in my life. So they're going to jump in. Once I hit the water, just pull me out. I don't care if I've got the kid, get me out of there. And I went in. But the funniest thing with it was, as I took this flying dive into this recirculation, and I'm midair going for the kid, he's popped up and he's heading towards me. By this time, he's not breathing. That's not a good sight. But in midair, I'm thinking, does this hose pipe have a push joint in it? The ordinary push joint that you will get in a normal hose pipe? Because if it is, I'm finished. And I hadn't checked the hose pipe. I didn't really know if it was a single thing or not. But the first hit got him, went underwater, and I really thought I wasn't going to be pulled clear in time because it was holding me against the face of the low head dam. And it was just keeping out of it. that's a long, long time ago, and I can still see it. I can still see that. Being underwater, watching him go away from me with my hand embedded in his shirt. And they pulled me clear, put some air into him, and he came back to life. So, yeah, but it did my head in. I suffered post-traumatic stress, but that's a very different story. But got an award for valor, whatever that means. You do something like that. But I wasn't prepared to throw my life away. I had a solution that I thought would work. I wouldn't have just gone in willy-nilly. And it did work.
Wow. That's amazing.
It really is. Yeah.
Good for you guys. Seriously.
Wow. Wow. That was an amazing story. And we are going to find out more soon. We're going to a break, but don't go away. We'll be back with more of the Camping Show on W4CY Radio and Talk 4 TV after these messages.
It is time to go camping. Introducing Campground Views virtual tours. You can tour the campground, see the sights, see if they are available, and click to book your perfect spot. Hit the open road and explore the amazing places found in nature. We make it easy to discover, find, and book your site so that you can go have the fun and freedom you seek. Campground Views virtual tours make it easy and simple for you to see where you are going.
A few years ago, someone asked Rutabaga's owner, Darren Bush, "Hey, how long have you guys been selling boats?" Darren replied, "We don't sell boats. We sell time on the water." Of course, that comes in all types. We help people paddle more safely with Rutabaga outdoor programs. We rent canoes, kayaks, and stand-up paddleboards. We sell and install racks to get you from home to adventure. Rutubaga's got everything you need to get you out on the water, like paddles, life jackets, dry bags, and clothing. Rutabaga Paddle Sports, on the web at rutabaga.com. Mention you saw this ad on The Camping Show.
And we're back with our guests, Ray Goodwin and Kevin Callan and Ray Mears here on The Camping Show. Beat that up. Hey, you're never going to live that one down now. I have.
Sure, Ray.
Hey, Juan, we've got some photos and some video from these gentlemen. Could you shoot us that video first? Something Kevin sent to me. I think it's actually fun. I like that. Everybody will get a kick out of that.
Yeah, this is a really important signal when Kevin's going on a bit, because this is the bull and its horns and what comes out at the other end. Yeah, so the most important of all river signals. And then there's Kevin's world, and seeing it's a single occupancy, whether we count it as the fourth one or not, I'm a little unclear.
We just heard a splash in the water. It might be the haggis. They've been warning me about this haggis that might attack me. All I saw so far are fish, ducks, and sheep. And a splash in the water. It might be haggis.
What am I getting out of the symposium? Loads of really cool stuff. Mostly from this really weird Canadian guy. Either Kevin something. Thinks he's Irish, but I'm not really sure.
Whose idea was that? Oh, let's get some whiskey, people. Come over to our campsite. Oh my lord. Say to the camera, that man's amazing. I've learned so much.
That man is amazing. I've learned so much. What was it?
I love this. I love that. You know what? That was a classic. And Kevin, thank you for sending that to us. It's a good thing our microphones were on mute. We're laughing our butts off over here. So.
Yeah.
So we got some pictures here from some photos here that Ray sent us into. Let's take a look at those, Ray, and tell us a little bit about each one of them. This is your book cover, right?
Yeah, slightly out of focus, I'm afraid. The real one is really crisp, but that's the below Big Pine Rapid on the French River. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful morning.
Very cool. We're going to talk about that book in a little bit here.
I assure people, the real one is sharp. Lining down. We try and in the UK, we've got this ideal of the canoe, which really derives from Bill Mason and his books and his films.
Yeah.
So we've sort of included everything. So somebody here been lining down the rapids. So rather than run it, that particular fall, and we will have people on the symposium who will be running things like that.
Okay.
But we also can practice lining down it.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd look more fun to run. It's just me.
It is, but it's what's beyond this photograph, a bit lower down. It's called the Serpent's Tail, and it's a really good recirculation, what we would in the UK call a stopper. And quite a few people swim out of that one.
Yeah.
Be right in the right place to get through that nicely. But I have paddled that when it's all across the rocks. Yeah, we include whitewater safety and rescue.
Yeah.
So people will want to go on and practice with throw bags and pulley systems for boats. But the funniest one we ever had with this, we got stuck on staff, and I wouldn't normally go out and run a workshop, but we were stuck.
Oh,
and
wow.
I quickly took over a half-day workshop, and it was on a much more powerful section of river than this, steep and very powerful. And it was to give people that boost in the experience. And I looked at these two ladies and I said, "Excuse me, how old are you?" And one said 74 and the other said 78. And they were swimming down rapids that make what you're looking at there really tame. And they loved it. They absolutely loved it. And I was just gobsmacked. Made my day.
Yeah.
We may or may not get up to here, according to the weather. And this is a bridge built, I think, about 1805, 1810. And it's the Menai Bridge connecting the mainland of Anglesey over to the island of Anglesey. And a lot of sea kayakers go here as well. This is the sea. And we get very strong currents up to maybe 9-10 miles an hour running through there. And those bridges are pretty tight, pretty calm at the moment. But when it runs, and it's one of the options that we sometimes use with the symposium, send a group up to this place. Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
Beautiful Menai Bridge. One of our local rivers. So that's the Afon Dyfrdwy in Welsh, or the River Dee in English. And that's really handy. That actually, the symposium is based out of a place called Bala. It's got a lake there, Llyn Tegid, and this river actually goes out of that lake. But this is about 15 miles away, a really water section. So people are really keen to do this stuff, and not that, that's not pushing the limit of what a canoe can do, but it's to actually use the canoe and enjoy its performance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So there you go on that one. Yeah, from the center, gain comes from Bill Mason and everything. This ideal of the canoe, and we use it for everything. So using a tarp, which is normally used as a shelter, but to use it for sailing. And we can get up some good speeds, and that lake can get a little bit on the wild side. So it's luck of the draw whether we end up with really calm or we get very windy. We've had that once where we got appallingly high winds. So what we did, we had safety boats available, and we said let's run some rescues on the edge, something that the coaches wouldn't have normally operated in, but with safety boats to pick up the bits just in case. Yeah. I remember after that session, people came back in and their eyes were out on stalks. You could see they deliberately tipping into the lake in probably a force 6.
Yeah.
So really howling, and the sort of place where most people don't want to practice rescues, but we could do it safely at the symposium.
Very cool.
Myself in action.
I like that boat. That's a nice boat.
Yeah, it is. I helped design that one. There was a whole sort of panel of us. It's not. I love it as a tandem boat. I paddle with my partner Lena,
Yeah.
And it's just fantastic. It's a very dry boat. It was designed for these steep Welsh creeks.
Okay.
And the actual, you can just make it out on the bow, Avon, A-F-O-N, in Welsh pronounced Avon.
Okay.
And Avon means river. So Avon Twer and Avon Dyfrdwy. And so it takes its name from this particular style of tight, steep Welsh creeks.
Yeah.
Bowling again,
I love
yeah.
bowling. Bowling's cool, man. Yeah, it's just cool.
It is. And for some people, we're having an advanced workshop. It was great. The English Symposium twice brought Harry Rock across, and he really influenced what we did with polling. And I'm still very much in contact with Harry. Great guy, real contributor to what we do in the UK.
Yeah.
Lots of fun and lots of swimming. As Harry says, the two types of polar, those that haven't swum, those of us that have swum and those that are going to swim.
That's great. I love it.
Yeah. But the advantage of bringing North Americans across, some people can opt for rescues. They want to practice. And so we'll run sessions on that at all sorts of levels. But again, we might do that in shelter or stick them out in real conditions where it's more likely to be done in the real case.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So there you go. So, and we'll have OC ones, the short boats as well. We try to make it, as varied as possible. And some people will try things because they're new for them. Other people's want to boost or just share ideas and have fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Very cool. Thank you.
Good.
Nice. So you've talked about some really interesting experiences. Are there any other outstanding moments or humorous moments?
I just watching the whole atmosphere is outstanding. And I've mentioned the two ladies that are even older than I am. That was amazing. But I think the funniest one I ever had was these 4 people walked into the main registration looking very sheepish. And they said, "We think we've made a mistake." They were booked, but they'd misread it. Because back, 20 years ago, most people would talk about canoeing in the UK, and they would mean kayaks, canoes, the lot. Canoeing is the generic term that we would use over here. And when they saw canoeing, they thought it was kayaking. And they turned up with 4 whitewater kayak boats on the roof of the car. And they said, "Well, we paid, we don't know what to do." I said, "Well, why don't you stay? We haven't got boats." "No, we'll provide you with boats." And they loved it. They were kayakers, so the transition wasn't too bad anyway. And they just had a riot. In fact, 3 years later, they were back again. They'd had so much fun. They were kayakers. So it's like, we think we've made a mistake.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Kevin, what do you got for any memorable, anything that stands out in your brain?
I think really it's just the atmosphere, like Ray said. If I wasn't presenting or doing anything at the show, I would still take time off work, fly to the UK, and spend the weekend doing hands-on workshops. That's why I love this show. It's just not, you don't stand around and listen to everybody all the time. You actually do stuff all 3 days. And then do a canoe trip, whether it's in Wales, Scotland, or England, whatever after that. And I think that would be the amazing holiday. So if you're in North America, anywhere, United States or Canada, and you're like, "Hey, I'm really bored, I want to do something," go to this show. You'll learn something. You'll meet amazing people. You will always want to go back.
All right, let's talk about that real quickly. The details, gentlemen. If someone were sitting at home, because I'm like a candidate for things like this, I'm like, yeah, let's just do it, right? Mm-hmm. Where do they go? Where do they fly into? What city are they going to stay? I mean, give us some just quick details of.
Well, the easiest one in the UK is to fly into Manchester.
Manchester, okay.
And then that, if you come into the Welsh Symposium, it's about an hour and a half, 2 hour drive.
Where are they driving to?
If you're going to the English Symposium, that's about 2 hours. Okay. But if you're going to the Scottish one, you're probably best come into the UK, and then take a flight up to Inverness, because its venue is right up in the Scottish Highlands. It's spectacular, and the rivers are spectacular.
Or if you're Canadian, do what I'm doing. I'm paddling there. I start tomorrow.
Yeah, because I was looking at which terminal he was coming into Manchester, and he told me which beach he was coming into Liverpool. Yeah, but he should
There's
have
no
set
motor
off
on that boat, I'm sure.
He
right?
should have set off a month ago, this guy. He just
right.
got no bloody idea, no idea at all.
I love it. So now they're flying into Manchester, and what city, Providence, are they going to stay? Where are you? What's closest to the symposium?
Well,
where would they find a hotel? Where's the best place for that there? What city?
Well, the thing is, at the symposiums, we provide accommodation. It's all part of the package. So
I'm on the plane now. I'm on the plane now. Right? I love it.
It's bunkhouse style accommodation.
Okay.
But we do. Some people will come and camp, even though it's end of October. Brits are fairly outdoor. People who do the outdoors in Britain tend to be fairly hardy souls. So we've got a lot of people camping. We've got accommodations. We've got people in accommodation, but with all the packages include all the food for the sort of Saturday and Sunday. If you're coming into a place like that, you really need to hire a car, because getting around to these, they're not remote places, but there's no easy public transport from the airport to our symposium or to the English symposium. Yeah.
So everything is really about taxi. That's really the best way to get around there, is what you're saying.
Well, I wouldn't. Yeah, we normally, if somebody's coming into something and they say they're coming, then we might be able to find somebody to just pick them up who's going past.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's always a possibility.
Yeah. So not everybody's getting to get the limousine with the chauffeur like Mr. Callan.
Yeah, but we couldn't get the Rolls Royce. We've had to do with the Mercedes.
Oh wow, nice. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Except they drive on the other side of the road. It drives me crazy.
No pun intended, right? Drives me crazy.
Well, that's why he likes coming up to my house, because there's no other side of the road. It's just one car wide. So that makes...
No, he lives on the top of a hill in a very small
in a
shack,
castle.
I would call it.
Castle.
And the first time I went there to speak, his partner Lean just dropped me off and said, "Well, I got to go to work. Good luck to you." I went outside and what was it? A badger attacked me.
Oh wow!
And I said, "I'm out of this country. What's going on?"
Wow. So is there like a moat to get to your house, or what?
No. Monty Python met me at the gate.
I love it. Oh my God.
I should have put a photograph in the house. When it snows, you don't come up my hill.
Oh, wow.
Unless you're on foot, you don't bring a vehicle up there.
He does live in a castle.
I've seen farmers with tractors turn back on that. Just take one look. No.
Nice and remote.
I love it.
Okay, so is there somewhere our audience can go to learn more about the Welsh Open Canoe Symposium?
Yeah, well, I've provided you with a link via my website, which is raygoodwin.com, but there's a symposium page on that. There isn't a page up for the English symposium yet, but if people email me, as soon as there's a website up and running for next year, then I can actually put a link to that. And I'll probably put a link on my own website to it as well, because we all try and help the other symposiums.
Yeah.
Okay. And then where can people go to purchase your book, Canoeing?
Okay, so
Cool. Love it.
Hey, is that my book, Kevin? Is it signed? There's a joke in the UK. The rare ones, the ones that you can sell well, are unsigned, because I've got a lot of those books.
Sheep bugger, you didn't sign my book. What?
Wrong page, Kevin. Wrong page.
At least you have a book. You were supposed to send me a signed book. I didn't even get the book, Kevin, from you.
So
at least you delivered me a book.
Yeah, occasionally people in North America say, "Can you send me one?" But the postage is more than the cost of the book.
Well, that happens.
So Amazon is one. But if you get it from Amazon, please do a review, because the author gets very, very little money.
Interesting.
That's me in a dugout canoe in Africa. Yeah,
that's cool. So Amazon would be the place to pick that up then.
It would. The best place is actually the book depository. And
Okay.
the book depository, I have no idea how they do it. Bookdepository.com.
What the hell's that?
Well, they do books cheaper than I do in the UK,
Oh,
and they
God,
include the
that's just-
postage.
That thing you poop in. What?
Oh, jeez.
Kevin.
Oh,
Did you-
Kevin. Hey, can you
C-
you know what?
CW, can you just warn me if you're going to ever do that again? And
Just sober
surprise
him
me
up
with-
before you get him in a canoe over there. 'Cause All right, we got to go, kids. Hey, we'd like to thank you, Ray, for being our guest, and Kevin as well for being our guests on the camping show. It was a pleasure having both of you here this evening.
Yes, and we'd also like to thank our sponsors for bringing us tonight's show, Campground Views and Rutabaga Paddle Sports.
Be sure to tune in for next week's episode. Paddler safety is for everyone with our special guests, Andrea White, Jeff Lockett, and Robin Hope.
Until then, this is Jessie Meany reminding you learn more, do more. Good night, everyone.
See you next week.